Okay, great. So yes, Sherryl Taylor is a certified personal trainer here in Charlottesville, Virginia, and she's been here for many years, and she's got a lot of education and training in exercise and lots of things, corrective exercise, virtual coaching specialist, women's fitness, senior fitness, and the list goes on. And I'm very happy to have her here, and I'm going to turn the reins over to her and let her start talking. And we will provide some time at the end for questions. If you do have a question during her presentation, you can put it in the chat box, or if you prefer to wait till the end, you can ask her, after she finishes. So I'm gonna turn it over to Sherryl. Thank you.
Thank you, Sator. Good evening, everyone. It's good to see your faces. We're going to talk tonight. We're going to bring up some slides. This is close to me. We're going to talk more about controlling type 2 diabetes, but if you've attended with Sator before, you know that diabetes and heart disease and stroke, they all are kind of linked together, and certainly exercise impacts positively if we exercise all of those things. But the focus will be how we exercise and manage our health in general with the focus on diabetes. So we're going to talk about as many subjects as we can. We could be here for 2 hours, but 1 hour. We're going to do some exercising. So I know if you're not prepared to exercise, I'm going to give you some demonstration and talk with form and what muscle groups we're working and that kind of thing toward the end. But we're going to talk about the benefits of exercise and basic guidelines. We're going to look at some graphics, short and long-term benefits of exercise, some safety precautions that you need to consider and talk to your medical provider about. We're going to talk about resistance training or lifting weights or using the body weight to do exercises. So I'm going to date myself a little bit. I'm a 60s girl. And so in the 60s, women didn't lift weights because we didn't want to get muscular like men. But that's very hard to do because we have estrogen and it's a whole complicated piece. But lifting weights is really, really beneficial for managing diabetes, heart disease, and as we age and get over the age of 60, sarcopenia, which is muscle loss. And so if we lose our muscle mass, that's not so good for diabetes either. So it's kind of a big circle. We're going to talk about the benefits of exercising the heart muscle, cardiovascular training, and the guidelines. And the FIT principle we'll talk about at the end, and then I'm going to do a little demo. So my daughter Jessica's helping. She's going to take us to the next slide. All right. So we have, this is her drawing too, by the way. So we have those benefits that I mentioned. We're going to build muscle, and muscle burns fat. And muscle is using that extra glucose that's in the bloodstream especially when we're diabetic, right? Muscle burns fat, that helps us lose weight, and that helps losing weight is beneficial for managing the diabetes as well as you get that strengthened heart, because the heart is a muscle, just like we have the superficial muscles on the body. We're going to get a better pulse, which is blood pressure. So, if you're diabetic, you have the risk for high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Exercise is going to help with the blood pressure and the cholesterol. You can't go wrong pretty much with exercise as long as your doctor clears you. You get more energy when you exercise. You get a happier mood, right? we have all of these hormones that help us feel happier when we're exercising. We get stronger lungs. The the uh, the lungs are more oxygenated, and you're getting more air in when you're exercising, so you get that energy and you get that blood flow, and then you're regulating the blood sugar. So that little pancreas up there, um and the liver, we'll talk about the liver later. I don't want to get too far out of my scope of practice, and we'll go to Satur, and I know we have at least one other nurse on here that can tell you more of the medical piece. So we'll move on, and then we'll get started with some of the details. So if you have type 2 diabetes, exercising regularly can help you manage your blood sugar levels and your weight. So it's a win-win. If you're exercising and you lose weight, I can't remember what the percentage is, but let's say you lose 5% of your body weight, that's going to help you manage the blood sugar just by doing that. But we don't want to lose any kind of weight. We want to lose fat and maybe a little water weight, but we don't want to lose muscle. So we want to watch the diet, and we want to exercise properly. So how you manage the diabetes, or that excess blood sugar that's in the body, going through the I'm sorry, the blood vessels. It's acting like little shards of glass, because it's not supposed to be excess blood sugar in the blood, glucose. So when we exercise and we use the muscles, right? When we're using the muscles are burning off that excess sugar, and that will lower the blood sugar, and it helps us prevent that damage to those delicate blood vessels in the eyes, the feet, right? So, and all over the body eventually. So we'll go to the next slide, Jess. Go to the next slide. So, so the best approach when managing diabetes is to get moving, right? You don't have to, go super hard, turn on the exercise channel and think you have to jump up and down and do burpees and whatever. You can start with a little plan of, I'm going to walk 10 minutes, right? And I'm going to add up how many times I walk or do exercise during the week. And you want that goal of, the minimum is 150 minutes a week, right? We want to get that heart pumping, the body moving. So you can do 10 minutes, breakfast, lunch, dinner, that's 30 minutes. We want to do some exercise most days of the week, if you can. You don't have to, we don't want to do it all in one day, and we don't want to do 5 minutes. It has to be 10 minutes. So,
Cheryl, it's a tour. Just to add on to what you're saying, I think that's a great thing. If you only did 10 minutes a day, 7 days out of the week, that's what, 70 minutes.
Yes.
So that's almost half of 150. So,
yes.
Just think of it that way. You're getting half in, and as you gradually increase, you don't have, you can still aim higher, but you are getting half of the requirement.
Right. I'm an all or nothing gal, but it's really not, but it's real. You don't really have to be that way. And people get it in between their ears that, I don't have much time, so I'm just not going to do it. But it needs to be 10 minutes in length to be effective.
Right.
Right. To get the heart rate up and get the muscles moving to be effective. But you can add that 10 minutes up over the week and see where you are. And it doesn't have to be that you get to 150 the first week or the first month. It can be a gradual thing if you have a plan, and get yourself a buddy to work with. Like my note is saying, you want to start gradually, and work up to your goal. And you have to be consistent to get those consistent results. And so that's a process. It's not like flipping a light switch for most people. It's a process to change your routine and some of your habits. And it's probably the best idea to go slowly rather than try to flip that light switch and I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to exercise every day. That's not going to last. So you have to integrate that change in slowly over time, and then it becomes a habit, right? It takes 3 weeks to make a habit or maybe longer. Once it becomes a habit, then it's like, oh, I was missing this all this time. And you start to make it a big priority, and you get those health benefits. And like I said earlier, having that exercise partner, it's been a little bit difficult during the pandemic for me as a trainer. I was used to being with people all day at different gyms, and mostly women, some men, but mostly women. And you get to talk and you get to hug and you get to have the class and you get to chat. Well, now I'm teaching over Zoom. I work at a gym, but we got masks on and the whole thing. So it's a little harder to get that exercise partner, but when it's warm out, we need to get that exercise partner. And if it's a Saturday at church and you've got a meeting, then get the ladies together and say, we're going to walk around the church 3 times, right? Outside where there's more air, you don't need the mask. All right, so let's move on. We're going to keep going. So make a list of the things you enjoyed in the past. So if you like to dance, line dancing, if you like walking, if you like going to water aerobics, or a sport that you used to do that you'd like to try again, try to find something you would enjoy, right? Raising your heart rate while you exercise is what matters. So we can't, a stroll is better than nothing, but we want to raise the heart rate. So I'm going to talk now about how your muscles are using the glucose. We're going to go into how to measure your heart rate and your intensity in a little bit. Moderation is key. We have to be safe. We have to protect the joints, and we want that medical clearance. So we talk to the doctor or the nurse about what it is because everybody's different. The benefits of exercise are independent of weight loss. However, the addition of weight loss also helps in managing it. So it's a win-win, right? If you don't lose any weight and you maintain your weight, because if you're taking insulin or something else, it might cause you to gain weight. So even if you're not losing the weight, the benefit of being healthier and getting your A1C down is the most important thing. So we want to talk about aerobic exercise. That's going to get that heart muscle pumping and get the muscle of the heart stronger. I lost my mom to heart disease, heart related dementia, right? So enlarged heart couldn't pump well, right? So we want to exercise that heart. And the walking, is the good thing. So again, 10 to 15 minutes after breakfast, lunch, and dinner may be better than walking, a whole hour, at once. If you're able to walk, if you're, at a job where you can walk through the corridors or around the building, or if you're retired, and you can go out or just walk up and down the steps. We have to be creative nowadays with the pandemic. All right. So let's talk about some safety. Have someone with you when you exercise. If your blood sugar is not well controlled or you haven't been exercising in a while, have someone with you. Have an exercise buddy or have your medical ID on you and try to be around people if you're checking into a gym. going forward once the pandemic, if you check in, make sure you have that medical ID and make sure you tell someone there, I'm diabetic, so keep an eye on me, right? You might need help if your blood sugar lowers too quickly while you exercise, because when you're exercising, the blood sugar is going to be managed. So you might exercise and, oh, I forgot to eat a snack. I have had clients who were diabetic and they would you have to bring your glucometer with you to the gym. They might check their blood sugars before we start to work out, during the workout, and after. I had one gentleman who checked his blood sugar 3 times, before we started, and then during the workout, and when we finished. So he might be low when we finish, so he would have to have a seat and he would have a snack with him, some little carb snack. We'll talk about that. That's in the notes a little later. So have that buddy with you. If you have peripheral neuropathy, we're not going to start doing high impact jumping jacks and running and that kind of thing, because it can damage the feet. So once again, I want to stay in my scope of practice pretty much, but if you have any conditions or things going on, we got to talk to the doctor and the nurse and say, listen, I want to start exercising. What are my numbers and what should I look out for? That's what you need to talk to that medical person for. If you've ever patients who have heart disease. Just keep in mind, we want to do this because it's so beneficial, but we have to be safe. Every time your heart beats, the muscle is stronger, so it's putting more blood out, and the blood is oxygenating the body, and that helps everything. That helps wound healing. If you have diabetes, it just keeps you healthier. It's using the glucose. That little picture on the bottom is not a chicken leg. That's a muscle belly. And your glucose, the muscle is using and eating up that excess blood sugar or glucose that's in the blood. And your blood flow is increased through those little blood vessels. And remember, I know I like the chocolate cake too, but just for the birthday, then it goes away till next year, because when the blood sugar spikes, you have those little excess blood sugars. They're acting like little shards of glass inside the vessels. And that's why we get blindness, we get neuropathy. Well, neuropathy is a different thing. And we get, issues with the feet. Think about in the body where the little tiniest blood vessels are. So exercise is going to help with all of that. And then your liver is managing, your liver is benefiting from exercise.
No sound. We need some sound.
Do we lose sound, Jess?
Yeah.
Yeah, it went out for a couple minutes or seconds.
Testing.
Yes, good now.
Okay. Everybody good?
Yeah.
Can hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. So the liver, so we have cholesterol as well. When we have diabetes or heart disease, we usually have high cholesterol, and then sometimes the doctor wants to put us on a statin, which I hate medicine. I want food and exercise to be the medicine, and we get rid of, I shouldn't say that because you have to listen to your doctor, but prevention is always better than taking pills. So when we're exercising, our cholesterol levels are always better. And, the diet and the exercise combine. So let's move on, Jess. We're going to go back to another text slide. We have another couple pictures. All right. So we're still talking about those safety precautions. So I've highlighted in yellow, make sure the high blood sugar and exercise, make sure your doctor says it's okay. And we went over some of this, but during vigorous exercise, the liver releases more stored glucose into the bloodstream, raises the blood sugar. When blood sugar, so that means if you test your blood sugar before you start to exercise, and your blood sugar is over 300, I don't know if you all know about Satur and Gertie, you're going to talk about ketones. If you have that high blood sugar over 300, it's not the time to go out for a walk now. It's the time to not exercise and get in touch with the doctor. Right? So you have to be, you don't want to be over 300 and start exercising. So that's one precaution. And we want to keep that glucometer with you and test it, right? If you're not well managed or you had that blood sugar spike, you don't want to get high and then start exercising and get yourself into trouble with that. So once again, always checking with the doctors and nurses to get as much info as you can. So we'll go to low blood sugar next with exercise.
Right. And anytime you're having, high blood sugar is that high, you want to be in contact with your primary, your doctor to let the doctor know what's going on, and, and watching the foods you're eating, that you're not eating high carb and high sugary foods, and things that aren't good for you.
Yes. Thank you, Satur. So with low blood sugar and exercise, it's good to keep, like some of my clients who are diabetic, keep that little 15 to 20 gram snack of carbs with you if you're going to the gym or you're taking a walk outside. And let's say, oh, it's so nice, I'm going to walk even further. You don't want to most people get low blood sugar, right? If their blood sugar is managed and they are exercising, it's more likely that they're going to go too low. So, and I've had stories of, my dad walking in the park and he sees somebody from his church slid down the tree, sitting on the ground. And it's just fortunate my dad was in a scientific role. So he knew to run to his car and get candy for this person. So you don't want to be out there in the park by yourself looking at the beautiful flowers and forgetting that I don't have my glucometer and I don't have my snack and I don't have my medical ID bracelet. So you want to eat a little bit of snack before you work out, right? About an hour before you work out, and monitor the blood sugar like we talked about. So if you feel shaky or really hungry or weak, your heartbeat, you have like a rapid heartbeat and you're kind of foggy and have difficulty concentrating, that could be a low blood sugar emergency. And I have seen people, not in the gym, fortunately, stretched out on the floor with low blood sugar. Up in Pennsylvania, there was a gentleman who forgot he was on insulin and he forgot to eat, and he came into the store I was working in and he passed out and he was sweating, and one of the ladies at the store said, oh, he's diabetic. So I called 911 and they gave him a whole tube of glucose. So it can be really dangerous if you fool around and get yourself too low. I think his blood sugar was 35 when the EMTs got there. So we don't want that. So it's just being cautious and making sure we are paying attention. All right. So next we're on safety precautions still. All right. So before you start to lift weights, you want to check with your doctor again. Begin with simple workouts. I'm going to do some basic exercises with dumbbells. You can use water bottles. If you use soup cans, don't drop them on your feet. I like go to Walmart and get yourself some dumbbells if you don't have them, or something that has a handle on it, like 2 things of Tide, right? Those things are heavy. So if you're going to do the laundry, you can hold those things at Tide and do some workout with them first and then do the laundry. You want to work out 2 to 3 days per week on non-consecutive days. So don't exercise Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You want those muscles. We make little micro tears in the muscle when we exercise. That's why we get sore. But that micro tear is making the muscle stronger in the end. So a little soreness is good, because that means that we've worked hard enough that we're going to, as the muscle heals, we're going to get stronger and build muscle mass, or at least not lose the muscle mass that we have, which when you get to age 60 or above, we start to lose muscle mass naturally. So we want to counteract that by getting those good workouts. So we want to do 8 to 10 exercises per session. I'll try to go through 8 or 10 exercises at the end of this, that we can start really basic. And then we're going to do those repetitions, let's say 8 repetitions of a bicep curl. And then when this is easy now. Before it hurt and I was sore after, now I'm not sore anymore. And now it feels light. So you're going to increase your weight and go to 12 repetitions. And then we're going to rest in between the sets. So if you're working with a trainer, the trainer is going to take you through all of that stuff and tell you everything you're going to do and spot you and things like that. So, but you can start on your own with basic things. All right. So, we covered some of this with working out with weights. So also we get those bones stronger when we use the weights and weight bearing exercise. So walking is weight bearing because we're taking our body through motion, and we're lifting the legs and swinging the arms. But if we add weights, it's strengthening the bones. Sometimes we have in the African American community, it's not as prevalent to have bone loss and have brittle bones, but it can happen. So we want to keep those bones strong, because we want to maintain our balance so that we don't fall and break a bone. So as I mentioned before, when we work out with the weights, we're going to lower the blood pressure and the cholesterol, help with the weight loss. Remember, muscle burns fat. So as we age and we naturally lose muscle, and muscle burns fat, that means as we age, we put on a little more weight. We're losing estrogen and all that stuff too. So we got to work harder to keep ourselves together for the next generation, and so we can see them and do all these great things we want to do. So we want to focus on posture. I'll go over the posture. We don't want this, right? I don't know if they can see me. We don't want to slump over. We want to stand up and draw the core in. So we want posture and proper form when we exercise, because improper movement patterns can mess you up. So you can, remember that song, the ankle bone connected to the knee bone connected to the hip bone. If you mess up your ankle, it can mess up the hip. So we want to, in daily life, we want to have the best posture we can. And when we're lifting the light weights, we want to watch the form. So moderation. We don't want to go to the heavy weights first, thinking we're going to get better results. It's better to start with light weights, and then every 2 months or so, 8 weeks, 2 months, we're going to take the weight a little bit heavier and a little bit heavier. right? Not all at once. And never hold your breath while you're lifting weights. We got to breathe in and out, even though we've got the core engaged and the body in a good position when we're working out. All right, so we talked about going over two or three sessions of strength training a week, and then skip a day in between. Now let's talk about intensity, because sometimes people are not sure, am I working hard enough or am I not working hard enough? So we're going to talk about rate of perceived exertion. RPE is what we call it in the fitness industry. So, you know, if you've ever been to the doctor, they say you pricked your finger. How much does it hurt on a scale of 1 to 10, right? Same thing applies. We don't want to be at a 10 while we're working out, because that means probably we've pushed our heart rate up too high, right? But we want to be about a 7 or 8. So when you start to lift those weights, oh, wait, this is easy. This is just a 1, right? Right? We don't want that. We want to get some work out of it, but we don't want to push ourselves too hard. So we're going to think about that 1 to 10. How hard am I working? And put yourself at about a 7 or 8. All right, let's see what we got next. All right, so this guy has been walking. So we're talking about long-term effects. So if you can integrate exercise and healthy eating into your life slowly, and you've done it for a long time, you're going to get long-term effects. So we could be here for a long time, but I'm going to try to make it brief. Your resting heart rate, which is important because we don't want that resting heart rate up over 99. We need to be talking to the doctor. Your resting heart rate is going to decrease and your blood pressure is going to decrease. Instead of having, you know, we want that blood pressure. Now they say it used to be 120 over 80. Now they say they want it below 120 and below 80 a little bit. And we definitely don't want it over 140 over 90, because then you're in hypertension. So by exercising regularly, you're going to regulate your blood pressure. Your insulin sensitivity increases. So the insulin is like a little key that unlocks the cells to let your body needs sugar. So that insulin comes down when you eat something, and it's like a little key that opens the cell. But in some people, the little locks don't want to work, right? So we have all this excess blood sugar in the blood, and we feel still hungry because it's not working quite right. And I'm off my scope of practice, but the exercise that we do helps those little locks open a little better in some people. So it's not only burning the excess sugar, but it's making us more sensitive to the insulin. And the lower that A1C is, the better. So it's lowering the A1C. And again, the muscle is going to increase in mass, and that helps burn the fat and keep the insulin sensitivity in the right place. Your blood flow increases, and just because the heart is not working so hard, right? When people get heart disease, there's all kinds of different heart disease, so I'm not going in there. But let's say in my mom's case, her heart was enlarged, so it didn't pump as efficiently. So that meant that the blood wasn't getting all the way to the brain and places, and that caused dementia. So when we exercise and that blood flow is increased, that means we're sharper, the body's not working as hard, so our blood pressure stays lower. It's definitely a win-win. And in athletes, let's look at Olympian athletes like heaven forbid, Usain Bolt, the runner. So people get into that athleticism and they stay there. They have more capillaries. The body's telling the athlete, wait a minute, they're working out so much, we need to grow some more vessels for them. So, we're all too old for that stage, but we can maintain and stave off bad things from happening. Hopefully, if we can work hard at it. All right. So, and then the liver and the pancreas, again, long-term benefits from that. And I don't know if Satur, you can print this or send this to participants so they have a copy, which would be great with me. Very good. Let's move
Yes,
on to the next.
I
the
can
next.
email it out after.
Yeah, so people can have time to really
Right.
to look at it. All right, let's talk about cardio. We talked about the weight training. We talk a little bit about aerobic exercise and how that aerobic exercise helps the heart become stronger and better able to pump blood through the body, right? The heart health improves with just 30 minutes of exercise on most days, with a goal of 150 minutes. Now, once you get excited about exercise and the pandemic is over and we got the girlfriends walking together, that ultimate goal is 500 minutes a week. And you're going to see stuff turn around. I've had people come to me and said, the doctor took me off my medicine. I don't have to take my medicines. So that makes me smile and makes me happy. And it makes the person smile because they're working out they're doing a lot of working out. We just have to make sure that the doctor is clearing us. So just like with the weight training, we have that 1 to 10 scale and we want to be at a 7 or an 8. If we're walking or a light jog, we want to be able to talk. So we're not talking about the talk test. If you're walking and you can't talk to your girlfriend about that church meeting or whatever it was, or we're shopping that we're going to do, if you can't talk, you're working too hard, right? If you can sing and walk, we need to work a little harder. All right, so let's talk about gauging the heart rate, and maybe Satur, I don't know what other events you have coming up, but we want to calculate what your maximum heart rate is. The easy way is to take the number 220 and subtract your age. So if you were in my dreams, I'm still 45 and I'm going to subtract 220 from 45 and then we'd get 175 and that would be your maximum heart rate, which we never want to go to that 10, right? We don't want to max the heart out. We want to get into a training range. So once you take the 220 and minus your age, you get your maximum heart rate. Then we want to work between 50 to 70% of that maximum. And then if you want to go a little higher, you've been exercising for 6 months and the doctor says, keep it up. Then you want to take it to the maximum of 85%. So that's an easy way, because as we age, we can't take the heart as far. So we're going to take 220 minus our age and get the maximum rate. And then we're going to work at 50 to 70% of that maximum. So Satur can share this with you. And then once again, if you have heart issues or the doctor has said, don't do this, don't do that, ask the doc or the nurse about this. So that you can get some direct personalized instruction on that. All right, so once again, we're repeating some of this, but your resting heart rate lowers with improved fitness levels, because we get the heart and lungs more conditioned. And when you think about it, if we're getting more oxygen in, everything in the body is running on oxygen. So the more we get in, the better we feel, and the better the heart, lungs, and those organs and those vessels are gonna fare. And you don't want to sit down and compare your resting heart rate with your husband or your uncle or whoever, because men's hearts are larger, to make it simple. So their resting heart rate is going to be fewer beats per minute than women. And also, if you're on blood pressure medicine, your resting heart rate may be a little different. So we're still talking to the doctor about that. But if that resting heart rate is up over 99, then we want to be talking to the doctor too, and we want to get that resting heart rate down. All right, let's move on, because I'm going too far here. All right, the FIT principle. This is a fitness thing, and I'll just quickly touch. So when you're making your fitness plan, or you're working with a trainer or a group instructor, the way you make the plan is we think about frequency, what we're going to do, intensity, time, how many minutes and how many days per week, and the type of exercise, right? So we'll let Satur share that with you. So if you're making your own plan, or you and your girlfriends are making your own plan, these are the guidelines you want to use. All right, Jess, let's move on. All right, I have my calendar up here, and Satur may share it with you. I'm teaching. I work in a full-time job now, after the pandemic has not slowed down. But anyway, I'm working full-time, but I'm also teaching on Zoom. And the gentle strength class that I teach is a good beginning class. The whole body bar, where it's a little heavier weight and we're down on the mat. So I'm going to because it's the time is going. I'm going to we're going to take the slides down, and we're going to put on a little music, and I'm going to take you through a warm up, which we should always do, a little warm up, especially in this cold weather, before we start exercising. And then we're going to do some basic exercises. I may cut it a little short this time, because I know Satur wants you guys to be able to ask some questions. All right, so we'll put on a little music, and we'll give a little warm up. So if you're in your living room or wherever you can work out in this cold weather, it's got to be inside right this week. Just hit that music. We're going to go into warm up. We're going to go into a little bit of marching. We want to keep the core drawn in, right? We're going to swing those arms. You got it. Swinging the arms. We're walking it out. Awesome. All right, now give me a big reach. Big deep breath in and blow it out. You got it. Looking good. Looking good. You got it. Up, 2, 3, 4, and down. Nice breath. Nice breath. You got it. Up, 2, 3, 4, and down. 2, 3, 4. All right, now we're going to start to work that upper body. Get those arms ready. So we're going to push those arms across the body. Reach it right and left. Keeping the shoulders low. You got it. Remember those nice breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. You got it. Now let's reach it up a little higher. Big reach. Pull it down. Awesome. Let's go back to that march. Just a march. Big reach up. We're going to cut this. We usually warm up for about a good 5-6 minutes. We're going to cut it short tonight. You got it. Awesome. Step, touch, wide. You got it. Jessica's going to take us to the slower music. We're going to cut it short tonight. Getting that body warm. You got it. There you go. All right, now, go ahead. We're going to that slower music. So now once we've warmed up, we got a little Retha in the house, little remake. All right, so we're gonna go for those big muscle groups, the thighs and the glutes. Those big muscles are working. We're gonna burn more blood sugar that way. So those arms by the sides, fingers toward the thighs. We're gonna act like we're sitting in a chair and standing up. We got our suitcases, we're going on a trip. We want those knees tracking over the second and third toe. We're sitting in that imaginary chair, bringing it up tall. And we're breathing. Even though we have that belly button drawn to the spine, you got it. Take it down, take it up, you got it. Sit as low as you can and keep your chest lifted high, you got it. You got it. One more here. Awesome. All right, now we're going for those bicep muscles on the front of the arm. So now we have our weights. Fingertips are forward. We're going to take those weights up to the shoulder, back down. Nice breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Working the front of the arm. You got it. 2 more here. Last one. All right, now we're going to work those shoulders. So we're going to take our arms nice and long in front of the thighs. Those fingertips toward the thighs, and we're going to draw those weights up close to the body. Elbows flying out wide. Lower and lift. Nice and slow. You got it. You got it. Next, we're going to get the tricep, the back of the arm. Awesome. All right, now I'm going to take 2 weights, one hand. You can take one or just use the body. So let's go feet in line, sit into the hips a little bit. We're going to push that arm in line with the torso and then bring it up in line with the knee. You got it. You got it. Getting the back of the arm, the tricep muscles. Awesome. And then we would go to the other side. So 1 weight or 2. We've got the feet in line. We're going to sit into a little bit. Press that weight in line with the torso and then bring it up in line with that knee. You got it. Awesome. Very good. All right, now we're going to get that core, but we're going to stay standing. Then we're going to sit and then we'll be done. All right. Fingertips behind the neck. We've got the weights next to the leg, right? We're going to drop that weight. Just let it slide down and bring it up. So we're working what we call those love handles or oblique muscles on the torso. We'll do 2 more. We'll go to the other side. Awesome. All right, now we let that weight drop down the leg and just lift it up. The shoulders low. We'll do 2 more. Then we're going to sit in the chair. We can work those abdominals from the chair. So I've got 2 chairs here. I use these little inexpensive folding chairs you can get from Walmart. Nice and sturdy. So we have a seat on the edge of the chair. We're going to hold on to the sides of the chair and take those shoulder blades back on the back of the chair. Now, we draw that belly button in, right? We hold the core in tight, and then we're going to start to tap those toes to the music, right? You got it. Now, what's working is that core. You got it. Tap it right, tap it left. And remember to breathe. You got it. Awesome. 2 more. Very good. Bring it up tall. Take those fingers behind the neck, elbows wide, and then we're going to lift that left knee. Take the right elbow to the left knee, and then right to left, left to right. So right from the chair, we can get that exercise. Working the core. You got it. Right and left. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very good. Awesome. All right. Now, I'm going to take you through 2 stretches that are important. And then I'm going to hand it over to Satur so we can do a little question. All right, just turn it on some stretchy music. All right, those calf muscles, right? We're driving or we're not walking around enough. They get tight right in here. So I'm going to use the chair. Hold on to the back of the chair. We're going to stagger the stance. Take that back leg back there. Keep those toes straight ahead. And we're going to lunge forward. And now we're going to feel that stretch through that calf. And then we'll switch to the other side. We're going to take those toes, lay them straight ahead and lunge forward. We can hold the chair or the wall and get that nice calf stretch. Awesome. We have a lot of stretches we could do, but we're not going to do them tonight. We'll have to come back again. All right. So now another trouble spot is the shoulder and the neck. If you carry tension in the neck and shoulders, this is a great stretch to do. I'm going to reach behind my back with my left hand. Look for that right wrist. Gentle pull on the right arm. So those fingers are over to the left. And then we're going to take that chin and aim it down to the left shoulder. So we're getting down the side of the neck on the right and into the shoulder. And then we'll switch it out. Right hand is reaching behind the back, looking for that left wrist. Gentle pull on the left arm. So those fingers are over to the right glute. And then we're going to take that chin down toward the right shoulder. Getting down the left side of the neck and into the left shoulder. Very good. Awesome. We'll do some more next time. So we went over time a little bit. Jess, you want to cut the music? Very good. So I enjoyed talking to you all. I could talk for a long time. So have a lot of diabetics in my family, and it's a big problem. And I would like for us to work hard to manage it and create those great new habits that we overcome this disease as much as we can. Very good. So I'm going to give it back to Satur for the questions.
Thank you, Cheryl. That was a great presentation and little workout. I got some good pointers there. But thank you so much. Very important information that we all need to know and practice. Does anybody have questions for Cheryl? Please.
I have one.
Great.
What is a healthy A1C?
A healthy A1C is 7 or below. And once again, you can talk to your doctor and the nurses and the diabetic education people. I know some of this because personal training crosses over into some of what I need to know, but you want that A1C under 7. 7 or under is good.
Yeah, 6.4 and up is considered diabetic range. So it's usually the doctors want it below 7, if possible.
And I think it's 5.8 or 5.8 is
Pre-diabetes, over 5.4 up to no.
Is it 6.2?
Up
I
to
don't remember.
5.8 and then 5.7. I think like 5.4 to 5.7, somewhere in that range. Anything over 5.8 up to 6.4 is, I'm saying it wrong.
Pre-diabetes.
Pre-diabetes
Pre-
is up to 5.7 or 8, I think, right? Yeah. I always have to look at my paper as many times as I say it. I know diabetes
Yes.
range, I know diabetes range is over 6.4. So pre-diabetes, if I'm not mistaken, is 5.8 to 6.4. Yeah, I think that's very close. And certainly we promote, eating more vegetables and fruit in your diet, and drinking up to 64 ounces of water. And, as Sherryl was talking about, small increments of exercise are key. And it does work. You can lose weight and be healthier by eating moderately with healthy vegetables and fruits and less fat, low sugar. And then with small increments of exercise and water, small changes, you can't do it overnight. It's baby steps, but just making one change is great. You might drink one extra glass of water a day. Start with that. Start with something simple. Walk up the steps, one extra time when you don't have to go up the steps, or walk to your mailbox and back. Something, start somewhere. Yeah.
I appreciate that because just a quick piece, I'll share that I thought I had to go to shots or something because my doctor said watch it, and he said I just moved to a 5.7, and I'm like, oh my God. So it
Yeah.
made me know something was major happening, but I appreciate that. So
Right.
it's not quite in range, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, and
They just
a lot more talk now about pre-diabetes than there used to be, because if we can catch it early, you can make these life changes that can help prevent you from becoming diabetic. And that's the goal, is we don't want folks to get in that diabetes range, because once you get in that actual diabetes range, it is more challenging to get out of it. You can do it, definitely you can get out of it, but it's a little bit harder to manage once you get in the diabetes range. Anyone else?
I guess I have a question, or
Okay.
maybe a statement. I know you said that in working out, you should rest the muscles, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, in between your resting. I kind of work out maybe 4 days out of the 5, but what I normally try to do is a cardio, because I know
Yes.
that helps burn. So I do stretches on Monday. Tuesday, I do like a dance type exercise, which I think is good. It's not, exerting myself. And then on Wednesday, I do like a cardio. And then on Thursday, I'm doing another dance movement. And then Friday is line dancing. So I got some cardio in there, but I'm doing other things, stretches, because I have problems with my shoulder. So the stretches, the stretch stuff helps my shoulder. So I try not to overdo it, but I try to have some cardio in there, even though, when you're dancing, that's a cardio movement too, but it's not as hard as the actual cardio that we do, where we're really burning the calories. So I try to keep something going, but I'm kind of resting in between. So repetition when it comes to doing sets. Most programs like the cardio that I have, we're doing the weight